Before we get into anything today, let me start with this. America is still a miracle. It is still the greatest blessing I will ever hand to my children. It is still the land where faith thrives, families rise, and ordinary people do extraordinary things every single day. We are surrounded, absolutely surrounded by reasons to be thankful. From the freedom to worship, to the abundance on our tables, to the laughter of our kids in the backyard, to the men and women who defend us, to the churches on every corner and the communities that still show up when it matters most. This country is overflowing with goodness. And Thanksgiving isn't just a holiday. It's the annual reminder that despite all the noise, despite all the chaos, despite all the headlines screaming otherwise, America is still a place worth celebrating. Thanksgiving used to be the day America took a deep breath. Before the Christmas rush, before the end of the year chaos, before the political madness, before we all turned into pundits with opinions about everything and peace about nothing. It was the one day carved out in the calendar where the entire country paused, looked around at each other and said, "We're still here. We made it another year, and God is still good." It was our national reset button. And if there is anything this country needs in 2025, more than another round of outrage, more than another viral clip, more than another podcast argument, it's a reset. We complain about America more than ever. Some of this is healthy. Iron sharpens iron, debates sharpen ideas. The founders built this country to argue, civilly, not to collapse the moments we disagree. But at some point, the loudest voices in the culture stopped sharpening and started tearing down. And tearing down requires no talent. Tearing down requires no courage. Tearing down doesn't even require a heart. Any angry person with a phone and a little bitterness can tear down. And that's the most dangerous part. Tearing down has become profitable. Outrage has become a content strategy. Hate has become a business model. Negativity has become the new national language. We built entire online ecosystems around feeding people anger and calling it information. And because anger is addictive, the people who profit from it keep giving us more. But gratitude built this country. Gratitude carried people through moments where anger would have broken them. Gratitude puts people back together. Gratitude gives us clarity. Gratitude gives us perspective. You don't get rid of darkness by yelling at it. You get rid of darkness by turning on a light. The Pilgrims understood this. Half their community died the first winter. Imagine burying half your church, half your neighborhood, half your friends, and then deciding the right thing to do is to hold a feast of Thanksgiving. They didn't give thanks because their circumstances were perfect. They gave thanks because God carried them through what should have destroyed them. Hardship didn't cancel gratitude. Hardship grew it. And that spirit shaped every generation that followed. Gratitude kept families together during the Great Depression. Gratitude sent young men to Europe and to the Pacific to defeat tyranny. Gratitude hung flags on every porch after 9/11. Gratitude is what makes a nation resilient. Gratitude is what keeps a nation humble. And it is what makes a nation worth defending. And this is the part nobody wants to talk about. Our crisis today isn't political. It's spiritual. We have lost the ability to see the good right in front of us. We have been trained to scan for what is wrong instead of celebrating what is right. We have begun treating blessings like burdens. We have started assuming the worst about the country that gave us the best shot at freedom the world has ever known. Real conservative leadership builds instead of destroys. Conservatives build families. They build communities. They build churches, businesses, movements, and nations. And you cannot build anything without a foundation. America has the strongest foundation of any nation in history. The most durable constitution, the freest markets, the widest path for upward mobility, the broadest protection of religious liberty, and the revolutionary truth that our rights come from God, not the government. That truth changed the world, and that truth deserves celebration, not cynicism. We're 8 months away from the 250th birthday of the United States of America. Do you realize how rare that is? Most nations never make it this far without rewriting everything or collapsing under their own weight. We've survived wars, depressions, pandemics, political upheavals, social upheavals, and we're still here. Still standing on the same founding documents, still living under the same Constitution, still fighting over the same ideas the founders fought over. That's not a weakness. That's a miracle. And yet, instead of preparing for a national celebration, we've become experts in diagnosing flaws and blind to blessings. Critique has a place. I myself often critique. But critique without gratitude is entitlement. Critique without perspective becomes narcissism. Critique without light becomes darkness. And Thanksgiving is the antidote. Thanksgiving reminds us what we should be unapologetically thankful for. America has the strongest military on earth. America has the most charitable citizens anywhere in the world. America is still the #1 destination for people seeking freedom. America leads the world in medical breakthroughs and cures. America produces more food and more energy than any nation in history. America sends more missionaries around the world than all other nations combined. And America is still the safest, freest, most opportunity-rich place to raise a family on the planet. These aren't talking points. These are facts, and facts matter. And here's the wild part. Despite all the negativity, Americans actually still want gratitude more than gloom. Bible sales are up 11% this year. Charitable giving is rising. Volunteerism is rebounding. And more Americans say the ideal family includes 3 or more kids than at any time since 1971. That's not a nation collapsing. That's a nation ready for renewal. That's a country still reaching upward. The evidence is right there. We just have leaders and influencers, loud ones, who profit from telling you the opposite. But when you sit at a Thanksgiving table, none of that noise matters. You can't pass the gravy on social media. You can't hug your family in between Instagram stories. You can't laugh until your stomach hurts while doom scrolling. Real gratitude happens around real tables with real people. And as a father, this hits me in a different way now. When your kids are little, you realize just how sacred these moments are. When my boys come running into the room screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," they aren't thinking about the economy. They aren't thinking about the election. They aren't thinking about inflation or geopolitical conflict or the latest viral nonsense. They just want their dad. My boys want to throw the football. My daughter wants to show me her latest dance. They just want to be loved on. Children simplify life. They make gratitude unavoidable. They remind you of what matters more than anything you think matters. That's what Thanksgiving is supposed to do for the whole country. And I'll tell you something I've been saying a lot lately. Gratitude is patriotic. Gratitude is a form of national service. Gratitude is a spiritual discipline with political consequences. Because a grateful people build, a grateful people protect what they've been given, a grateful people raise strong families, a grateful people resist the temptation to burn the country down because they know the country is worth saving. But the opposite is also true. A bitter people destroy. A cynical people withdraw. A hopeless people become easy to manipulate, and a resentful people stop fighting for their future because they stop believing they have one. You want to know why some of the angry online movements targeting young men are so toxic? Because they've convinced an entire generation that the American dream is dead, that family isn't worth building, that faith is pointless, that women are the enemy, that work is meaningless, that life is a rigged game. And when you believe that, what is there left to be thankful for? Nothing. And when there's nothing to be thankful for, there's nothing worth defending. That's how you lose a country without even firing a shot. Thanksgiving and gratitude more broadly is the antidote to that poison. It cuts through all the cynicism and reminds you what is still good, still beautiful, still worth raising your kids in, still worth fighting for. It reminds you that goodness is real, that blessings are real, that God is still active in the world and still pouring out gifts on people who don't always deserve them, but desperately need them. And one of the things I love about Thanksgiving is that it's not complicated. It's literally built into the name. Thanks and giving. Gratitude and generosity. 2 things that transform you when you practice them. 2 things that rescue you from bitterness. 2 things that force you to take your eyes off yourself and onto the people around you. 2 things America used to do better than anyone else and still can. This Thanksgiving, I'm going to break bread. I'm going to hug my family. I'm going to hold hands during grace. I'm going to tell stories. I'm going to let the kids stay up late. I'm going to laugh until the turkey comes up. I'm definitely going to yell at my fantasy football team while I pretend I like Bloody Marys. I'm going to build memories no algorithm can fake, because those moments are what built this country. America is divided. Politics is exhausting. The culture feels chaotic. But Thanksgiving cuts through all of that. It brings us back to the basics. It reminds us that a nation built by grateful people will only be restored by grateful people. So this year, take the day, step away from the noise, look your family in the eyes, count blessings instead of grievances, pray before the meal, tell the stories your kids have already heard but love anyway, laugh until your face hurts. Slow down long enough to remember that for all our flaws, for all our imperfections, for all our disagreements, America is still the greatest story of human freedom ever written. And that is worth giving thanks for. A grateful people built this nation. A grateful people saved it again and again, and a grateful people will restore it. May we be those people. May we raise those people. May we model that posture of the heart in front of our kids so they grow up knowing that gratitude isn't weakness, it's strength. And as you gather around the table this year, my hope is simple. That gratitude clears the fog a little. That it softens the edges of the year. That it reminds you of the blessings that never make the news but make your life worth living. That it recenters you on what's eternal, not what's loud. Because for all our flaws, all our noise, and all our disagreements, America is still the greatest story of human freedom ever. And giving thanks for that, truly giving thanks for that, might be the most patriotic act left in this country today. I wish you and your family the happiest of Thanksgiving. God bless.
Hey, we the people like Gates Garcia, so that's no excuse.